In this episode, we are looking at one of the most common support jobs around printers, which is keeping them working well over time instead of waiting for them to fail and then guessing what part to replace. For beginners, printer maintenance can feel confusing because many print problems look similar at first. A faded page, streaks, smudges, blank areas, or paper jams can make people assume the whole printer is bad, when the real issue may only be a worn part or a consumable that has reached the end of its useful life. A good technician learns to understand how laser and inkjet printers work at a basic level, what parts they use up during normal operation, and what kind of maintenance helps keep print quality steady. That approach saves time, saves money, and prevents the common mistake of replacing expensive parts just because the printer output looks bad for a moment. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.Me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. The first important idea is that printers are not maintenance-free devices, even when they seem to work quietly in the background most of the time. They rely on moving paper, applying ink or toner, controlling heat, and keeping internal paths clean enough for pages to pass through correctly. Those actions create wear, dust, heat, and residue, and over time those things affect reliability and print quality. Some parts are designed to be replaced regularly, while others last much longer but still wear out after enough use. A beginner should understand that maintenance is not a sign that a printer is badly designed. It is simply part of how printers work, much like tires and brakes eventually wear on a car, even when the car itself is still in good condition. Once you accept that normal printing creates normal wear, it becomes easier to see why routine attention matters and why support technicians do not treat every print problem like a major hardware failure. A consumable is any printer item that gets used up during normal operation and is expected to be replaced. In an inkjet printer, common consumables include ink cartridges and sometimes print heads, depending on the model. In a laser printer, common consumables include toner cartridges, and in some designs the drum may also be part of the cartridge, while in others it may be a separate replaceable item. Some laser devices also use transfer rollers, fuser units, and maintenance kits that are expected to wear over time. That is a big reason why technicians need to know what type of printer they are supporting before ordering anything. A beginner who does not understand the difference between printer types can easily waste money by replacing the wrong item or by ordering a part that belongs to another design. Knowing what gets used up, what lasts longer, and what is bundled together in a specific model is the start of smart printer support. An inkjet printer works by placing tiny droplets of liquid ink onto the page. This makes it a common choice for homes, small offices, and places where color documents or photos matter more than very high-volume printing. Inkjet printers are often smaller and quieter than laser printers, but they also have their own maintenance patterns. Ink can dry out, cartridges can empty unevenly, and the nozzles that place the ink can become clogged if the device sits and used too long or if low-quality supplies are used. This means an inkjet printer may not fail because of a broken part at all, but because the ink delivery path is no longer clean and flowing the way it should. A beginner should think of an inkjet printer as a device that needs good cartridge health, clean print paths, and regular enough use to keep ink moving properly. Long periods of disuse can be almost as harmful to print quality as heavy use, which surprises many people at first. A laser printer works differently because it uses toner, heat, and an imaging process instead of liquid ink. In simple terms, toner is a fine powder that is placed on the page and then bonded to the paper with heat. Laser printers are often used in offices and business settings because they are usually faster, handle larger print volumes well, and often produce sharp text very consistently. Their maintenance pattern is different from inkjet devices because liquid drying is not the main concern. Instead, technicians think more about toner levels, drum condition, rollers, paper path cleanliness, and parts such as the fuser that experience heat and wear during normal printing. That difference matters because a beginner may see poor output from both types of printer and assume the fix is the same, when in reality an inkjet issue might point to dried ink or clogged nozzles, while a laser issue might point to toner, a worn drum, or contamination inside the paper path. One of the most useful beginner habits is learning to connect the visible symptom to the most likely source instead of jumping straight to part replacement. If an inkjet printer shows missing lines, broken color areas, or weak output after sitting and used, the problem may be clogged nozzles or poor cartridge condition rather than a dead printer. If a laser printer shows repeated marks at regular intervals down the page, that can suggest a worn drum or another rotating part that keeps placing the same defect in the same location each time it turns. Smudging on a laser page may suggest toner is not being fixed to the paper properly, while faded output may suggest low toner or a related imaging issue. Paper jams can be caused by worn rollers, bad paper, humidity, or debris in the path, not just by a major mechanical fault. Good technicians do not guess blindly. They pay attention to the exact pattern on the page and the exact behavior of the device. Cleaning is one of the simplest maintenance tasks, but it still needs to be done with care. Dust, paper fibers, spilled toner, and dried ink residue can all affect how a printer performs. A technician may clean accessible paper paths, remove loose debris, wipe certain rollers if the manufacturer guidance supports it, and make sure the printer is not filled with scraps of damaged paper from earlier jams. In inkjet models, built-in cleaning cycles may help clear nozzle problems, but those cycles should not be used endlessly because they can consume ink without solving a deeper issue. In laser printers, toner dust should be handled carefully because it is not the same as ordinary dirt. A beginner does not need to become a printer engineer to clean a device properly, but they do need to understand that gentle, correct cleaning helps print quality, while careless cleaning can damage parts, spread toner, or create new problems that were not there before. Paper handling is another part of maintenance that beginners sometimes overlook because paper seems too simple to cause serious trouble. In reality, poor paper choice and poor paper storage create many print problems. Damp paper, curled paper, wrong paper size, overloaded trays, or badly adjusted guides can lead to jams, skewed output, poor feeding, and wrinkles on the page. These are not always signs that a major part has failed. Sometimes the printer is fine and the paper is the real problem. A technician learns to check whether the paper matches the printer's expectations, whether the tray guides are set correctly, and whether the paper has been stored in a way that protects it from moisture and damage. That matters because a support person who ignores the paper itself may waste time changing cartridges or opening covers when the real cause of repeated jams is simply bad media or poor tray setup. Rollers are one of the parts that often wear out in both laser and inkjet printers because they do physical work every time paper moves through the machine. Feed rollers help pull paper from the tray, and over time they can become dirty, smooth, or worn enough that they lose grip. When that happens, the user may see repeated failures to pick up paper, multiple sheets feeding at once, or jams near the start of the paper path. This is a good example of expected wear because the rollers are not permanent parts. They age through normal use, and technicians learn to recognize that pattern instead of blaming the whole device. A beginner should remember that repeated paper handling problems often point to the parts that touch the paper most directly. Replacing a toner cartridge or running a cleaning cycle will not fix a worn roller, and that is why understanding where patterns prevents wasted effort and wasted money. For laser printers, the drum is especially important because it plays a direct role in forming the image before toner reaches the page. Some printers combine the toner and drum into one unit, while others keep them separate, and that affects both maintenance cost and troubleshooting logic. If the drum is worn, scratched, or contaminated, print defects may repeat in a very regular pattern because the same damaged area keeps rotating into the imaging process. A beginner does not need to memorize every internal step of laser printing to understand the practical lesson here. If the output shows repeating spots, lines, or shadows at regular distances, the technician should think about rotating imaging parts before assuming random failure. This helps avoid the expensive mistake of replacing several items one by one without a clear reason. Understanding what the drum does makes it much easier to decide whether toner alone is the likely issue or whether another part in the imaging path is responsible. The fuser is another major laser printer part that technicians need to respect because it uses heat to bond toner to the page. If the fuser is failing, the toner may smear, rub off, or appear only partially fixed to the paper. The printer may also report heat-related errors or show signs that paper is not moving through that section properly. Since the fuser operates with high heat during normal use, it is one of the components that can wear out over time in busy environments. Beginners should understand two things about it. First, a fuser problem creates a different kind of print defect than a toner shortage or a worn drum. Second, this is not the sort of part you handle casually right after printing because it can remain very hot. Knowing that the fuser is an expected wear part in many laser printers helps technicians avoid guesswork and helps them explain clearly why certain print defects are not fixed by replacing toner alone. Inkjet printers have their own version of expected wear and expected maintenance, even though the parts are different. Cartridges may empty unevenly, print heads may clog, alignment may drift, and color output may become inaccurate if the device is not maintained well. Many inkjet models include built-in alignment and cleaning functions, and those are helpful when used for the right reason. A technician may use them when print output shows gaps, fuzzy edges, or color placement problems that suggest the printer needs to recalibrate how it places ink on the page. Still, a beginner should not think these functions are magic buttons that fix everything. If a cartridge is empty, leaking, old, or damaged, repeated cleaning cycles may only waste more ink. The goal is to use maintenance features as part of a clear thought process, not as a substitute for diagnosis. Good support means knowing when a cleaning step is appropriate and when it is only hiding the need for a proper replacement. Another key support habit is keeping print quality stable instead of waiting until users start complaining. That means technicians pay attention to early warning signs such as small streaks, occasional misfeeds, light output, slow pickup from trays, or unusual noises. These signs often show up before the printer becomes unusable. If maintenance is done early, the device may continue working well with only a consumable replacement, a roller change, or a cleaning step. If those signs are ignored, the same printer may later require more downtime, more frustration, and more wasted supplies because people keep reprinting failed pages. A beginner should see preventive care as a smart part of support, not as extra work. Stable print quality usually comes from simple habits such as using the right supplies, storing paper correctly, replacing wear items on time, and paying attention to what the printer is already telling you through its output. There are also a few mistakes that new technicians should try to avoid from the start. One is replacing parts based only on frustration instead of evidence. Another is ignoring the difference between laser and inkjet designs and assuming every faded page means the same thing. A third mistake is treating every jam, streak, or smudge as proof that the whole printer is near the end of its life, when the real issue may only be a common wear item. People also waste money by mixing poor quality media with genuine printer problems, or by using repeated cleaning cycles when a cartridge is already clearly exhausted. These mistakes happen because printers often show similar symptoms for different reasons. The way around that is simple but important. Look at the print pattern, think about the printer type, consider what parts normally wear, and make the next decision based on those facts instead of guessing. By the end of this topic, laser and inkjet printer maintenance should feel much more practical and much less mysterious. Inkjet printers depend heavily on healthy ink flow, clean nozzles, and correct cartridge condition, while laser printers depend more on toner, drums, rollers, paper path condition, and heat-related parts such as the fuser. Both types use consumables, both types have parts that wear out normally, and both types benefit from cleaning, good paper handling, and early attention to changes in output. A technician who understands those basics does not have to guess wildly or throw parts at the problem. Instead, they can match the symptom to the most likely cause, replace the parts that are actually expected to wear, and keep print quality steady without wasting time, money, or the customer's patience.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.